Okay, so I've gotten my flywheel cover off. There's your stator. And standard 3 hexes of those 4.5 millimeters holds that in. Once again, with your, this is just like the Kawasaki's. There's a spring down in that. Let's see if there's a washer. No, I don't see a washer. It's a bad thing about these jet skis. If your Bendix, your starter Bendix, which is this piece right here, goes bad, you'll get the wee wee spinning sound when you push start and nothing engages, the engine doesn't turn over. Usually that piece is bad. You got to remove the flywheel. Look at that magnet. You got to remove the flywheel to change this piece out. So keep that in mind. But yeah, you've got your pickup. This should have a magnet. Yeah, it's magnetic right there. And then your stator. Let's see. This spring, I should have got my little. That doesn't come out so easily. There it is. See that spring? You don't want to lose that spring. Say you're working on this in the ski. Don't lose the spring. There it is. I'll put it in my little parts jug so I won't lose it. But yeah, I like to put a little grease in that going back in. I don't see a washer on this one. Don't know whether it's supposed to have one, but like I said, somebody's been in here before. There's clear silicone where somebody's changed the stator, or maybe the Bendix, or maybe the flywheel. I don't know. Probably the stator, because that seems to be what goes out on me, just like on a motorcycle. All right, so you've got this oil pump drive right here. That's why that nut is split. Well, it's not a nut. It's actually a bolt. That bolt has to come off. It is a lot of foot-pounds of torque holding that on. So the challenge becomes, oh my gosh, how do you turn this with nothing attached to your engine? With you know, this is going to want to turn when you put a wrench trying to take this loose. My impact, I've got an electric impact. I don't have an air one. It wasn't strong enough to turn this. So what I did was I took a tie-down strap, strapped the engine to the table, and I jammed a lot of rope in around these flywheel teeth and was able to do it. Now, a lot of people do the cylinder rope trick where you basically you put your cylinder on, put your head on, and you fill the cylinder up with a piece of rope so that this can't move, and you can do it that way. But say your engine is inside the jet ski and you don't want to open up your cylinder head, then how are you going to get that to not turn? Well, jam you a bunch of rope around the teeth. That won't damage the teeth. I thought, well, I'm going to have a hard time getting the rope back out. I didn't. It wasn't really hard at all. I just jammed rope in around these teeth, and it wedged in between the teeth and the body of the block. It worked just fine doing that as well. So keep that in mind as an alternative to your cylinder. Just to show you a quick another way to not lose the spring, so you're working on the fly and don't have a parts bucket or whatever with you. Take the spring and stick it on that little magnet right there. Just stick it on that magnet and it'll keep the spring for you while you're working. And not only that, but you'll see it and you'll know to put it back. Okay, so I'm showing you how I did this. And I broke it loose. This wasn't nearly as tight as the Kawasaki that I recently built. I used a breaker bar with a 17 millimeter socket. I like the way they designed this better. Kawasaki has the nut actually designed into the split. They've got the nut designed after the split on Yamaha. I'm really liking the Yamaha engineering. All right, another reason for me to like the Yamahas more and more is that you can use a commonly available puller to pull the flywheel. They put you 3 threaded bolt holes in there. I bought this from AutoZone. I already owned one. It pulls steering wheels, and it comes with about 3 different sizes of bolts. I'm having to use it without the specialty tips on the end because they're too big to go inside. It comes with a pointed, and it comes with a flat tip for pulling different objects, different things. So all I got to do now, I've got my bolts run in. I've got a good even, centered up. All I got to do now is turn this, tighten it, and this will pull off, and I'll have the flywheel out of this thing. Okay, flywheel is out. It was tight. It didn't want to go any more turning, and it was kind of creaking, and I don't want to mess up the threads on the end of this crankshaft either, but it does have a nice bevel so that you don't do that. So what I did was I did a little tapping on the end of my rod, and guess what? The thing just popped right off. Just tapping, and I'm not talking about beating, tapping this end, and it just pops off. Now, when it popped off, see my Woodruff key? And you see I've got a dirt floor shop, so I have to be careful what I'm doing in here. That's why I've got big magnets so I can sweep the floor of this thing if I lose stuff. But stainless steel, it ain't gonna help. So you got a Woodruff key that holds this flywheel in place, and it dropped out and fell right into my case. So be mindful, you do have a Woodruff key. There's a slot in the end of the crankshaft that this fits into, and I can't rotate it because I've got it all bound up. The rope trick worked flawlessly again. Putting the rope, jamming the rope here to allow me to put some tension on this thing. I'll have to use it again when I'm taking this off, but I won't get to take that off until my special tool gets here to do that with. Flywheel's off. I get to clean it up. Oh, and now my Bendix will come out. There we go. Looks very, very similar to a Kawasaki one.